Every ACCA student starts their journey with the same official texts. Kaplan, BPP, or other approved study resources. They're all there, neatly printed, wrapped in glossy covers, filled with everything the examiner could test you on. But here's the brutal reality: despite all of us having access to these exact same texts, only around 40% of students actually pass their exams. Think about that for a second. The books are the same, the syllabus is the same, the pages are the same. Then why do so many students fail? It's simple. Because they treat these books like novels, reading page after page as if they're preparing for a literature exam, instead of treating them as survival manuals for one of the toughest professional qualifications in the world. That's the difference between someone who struggles and someone who succeeds. In this video, I'm not just going to tell you what's inside the ACCA study texts. You already know that. I'm going to show you how toppers use them differently, why most students never crack the code, and how Education Bench has built a system that turns these heavy paperweights into your most powerful weapon. I've seen it firsthand. Student A sits down with their brand new Kaplan book. The first few pages are neat, highlighted, sticky notes perfectly placed. They feel motivated, but after 2 weeks, the enthusiasm fades. Chapters become a blur of text. Examples are skimmed through. Suddenly, the book feels heavier than it is. Meanwhile, student B picks up BPP. They're determined, so they read every paragraph religiously, memorizing lines as if examiners will test their memory. Exam day comes, and both students fail. One because they never finished, the other because they finished but never understood how to apply. Here's the hard truth: books don't fail you. Your strategy fails you. ACCA texts are designed to cover the syllabus in its entirety, but they are not designed to coach you. They don't care if you succeed or fail. They're neutral. And if you don't know how to handle them, they'll drain you instead of building you. Now let's talk about Kaplan versus BPP, because this debate has existed for years. Kaplan has a reputation for being concise, more exam-focused, and straight to the point. Quick learners love it because they don't get lost in endless theory. It feels like a sharper tool, cuts fast, gets the job done. But here's the hidden catch: when you get to advanced papers like strategic business reporting or advanced audit, that conciseness leaves gaps. You'll find yourself asking, wait, where was this explained? Because Kaplan often assumes you'll fill in the blanks. On the other hand, BPP is heavy. It's rich with theory, background, explanations, and context. At times, it feels like you're drowning in content. But that depth builds a stronger foundation, especially if you're a student who likes to understand the why behind the concept. BPP users often take longer to study, but when they reach the professional level papers, they feel more grounded. I'll give you an example. Student C used Kaplan from day one. They breezed through the knowledge level exams, FA, MA, BT. But when they hit strategic business leader, they couldn't adapt because Kaplan hadn't trained them for depth of analysis. Student D, on the other hand, stuck with BPP. But regardless of Kaplan or BPP, most students fall into the same traps. And these traps are fatal. The first mistake? Reading passively. You sit there, turn the pages, highlight, maybe underline a few lines, but you're not actively engaging. It feels like studying, but in reality, it's just consumption without application. The second mistake? Treating the study text as your final prep. Students believe that if they've read every page, they're ready. Wrong. The text is the foundation, not the finishing line. Without practicing past papers, mocks, and examiner-style questions, you'll always get shocked in the exam hall. The third mistake? Ignoring the exam. Examiner's style. Examiners don't lift questions straight from the book. They twist scenarios, reframe concepts, and demand application. Memorizing chapters word for word is useless when the exam asks, how would this concept apply to Uber's balance sheet or Enron's collapse? I've personally seen students who memorized entire Kaplan chapters and still failed financial accounting because the multiple choice questions tested their ability to think, not just recall. And this is where Education Bench comes in with a method we call text to exam. It's not enough to just read. You need a process that transforms those dense pages into a practical weapon. Step 1. Skim for frameworks. Don't read every line the first time. Look for structures, diagrams, and formats. These are the skeletons of your knowledge. Once you spot them, you start to see the bigger picture. Step 2. Apply in case contexts. Every concept in ACCA connects to the real world. Take costing techniques from management accounting and link them to how Uber sets dynamic pricing. Take ethics from business and technology and link them to Enron's scandal. When you do this, you start training your brain to apply, not just repeat. Step 3. Reinforce with past papers. Here's the truth. The examiner's style is a different language. Textbooks speak syllabus, examiners speak application. You need to translate between the two. And the only way is by practicing questions under time conditions. Step 4. Revise with AI tools. This is where Education Bench gives you an edge. Flashcards, AI-driven quizzes, smart notes. They're designed to cut revision time in half and reinforce knowledge in interactive ways. This method takes the same books every student has and flips the outcome. Where others see heavy blocks of text, you'll see strategy. Let me give you another scenario. Student E was preparing for MA. They read Kaplan cover to cover. They highlighted. They made notes. But when the exam came, they scored 38. They felt betrayed. But I studied so much. Then they switched to the text-to-exam method. Instead of reading line by line, they skimmed the chapter first, identified costing frameworks, and then applied them to a case. What if Tesla used absorption costing versus marginal costing? Suddenly, the concept clicked. They did past paper questions, saw how the examiner framed costing questions, and built muscle memory. Their next attempt? They scored 71. The difference wasn't the book. It was the method. And that brings us to 2025. ACCA texts haven't changed much in style. They're still written in the same traditional way. But learning has changed. Students now have access to AI-driven tools, smart summaries, and interactive platforms. If you're only relying on the text, you might pass. But if you combine the text with tech, you'll dominate. Imagine studying ethics not by reading a 20-page chapter but by watching a case study video on the Volkswagen emissions scandal. Imagine memorizing formulas not by rewriting them 20 times but by using adaptive quizzes that instantly tell you where you're weak. Imagine revising a full subject with a mind map that compresses 400 pages into a single sheet of visual logic. That's the future of learning, and that's exactly what Education Bench provides. We don't replace the books. We transform how you use them. Because at the end of the day, every student starts with the same ACCA texts. The difference isn't the material. The difference is the future you create with it. Books don't create toppers. Strategy does. You can spend months reading passively. Or you can adopt a system that turns your study into performance. Education Bench exists to give you that system. If you want to stop being the student who fails with a full bookshelf and start being the student who passes with confidence, this is your chance. Subscribe to the channel, because this is just the beginning. In the next video, I'll break down the ultimate ACCA financial accounting planner using the same BPP text, but in a way you've never seen before. That planner alone can cut your study time in half and double your chances of passing. Remember, the books are the same. The future isn't. The question is simple: which student are you going to be?